Welcome, everybody. I tell you what, this has been an interesting week. Etouffee and arroz con pollo. Two great products, and y'all have shined for the most part. Everything I've seen, I have never seen this many chocolate roux from a class. I'm gonna be honest with you. Y'all have done fabulous. Plating real quick. If you're going to do a flat plate, which nothing wrong with it, flat plate, you can spread it out, you can mound it up however you want. I've seen some really good ones. Most places in Louisiana, especially if you're down south, they're going to use a bowl for your etouffee. I'm just letting you know, because they want that gravy at the bottom, they want some rice, and then they want a little bit more sauce and the meats or the proteins on top. But keep them coming good. They look really good. This week, what we're going to talk about is sustainability of probably our most precious resource, which people take for granted so badly, our oceans. Okay,
100%, chef.
Definitely, because it's a little ridiculous. I mean, I remember as a kid, Exxon Valdez, you hear about it, you heard about it for about a week. It's like, dear goodness gracious. I remember hearing my dad say, can we get off of it already? Because it was just extending news. When it first happened, it was canceling show. And I'm telling you, when you cancel soap operas or you cancel other programs, which, my dad had his favorite programs, my mom had her soap operas. If you're canceling those to talk about news, it better be good news. So Exxon was really messing up a lot of people back in the day, and nobody cared. I won't say nobody cared, but it was like, we were like, okay, what's the big deal? Okay, yeah, clean the oil up and let's get moving. But what we wasn't realizing was all the oil that was going into the sea, the other toxins and rust and other stuff that goes into the sea was killing our fish. Fish full of mercury, all the other, the other nastiness that it brings into play. So, did you want to go?
Can I hop in here real quick before we
sure
start
can.
getting into the sustainability, chef?
Sure can.
It's one of my favorite weeks, by the way. I love fish. I love seafood. What?
Show of hands, how many people fish? Just raise your little hand up. All right.
We got a few.
We got quite a few fishers out here. All right. Continue, chef.
It's important to know what you're fishing, right? Not everything is fishable. Not everything is edible. Not everything we want to eat. Some things we need to put back in. All right. But before we get into that class, we are in week 5. What does that mean? That means next week we are at the halfway point of this class being over. Sad but true. Okay. But what does that mean for anybody who has missed any single little thing? A knowledge check, a conversion check, a larger cooking assignment, anything from weeks 1 through 5, no exceptions, must be submitted in week 6. Knowledge checks and conversions checks, those are open. Go have at it. You've got 3 attempts per one. Knock yourself out. Get that highest score. Okay. If you are missing a cooking assignment, reach out. Let myself or Chef Eric know which one it is. We need to open that up, and it's due in week 6. So we're letting you know, get yourself in gear, so that way in the second half of the program and the course, if you fall behind again or miss something comes up, you're not now underneath 10 feet of snow and frozen and you can't get out. Okay. I know some of y'all covered in snow right now, but that's my point. Okay. You don't want to get dumped on again. All right.
You got that.
Start cleaning up the past so you don't get in the weeds, is what we call it in the industry. It's when you've got too many tickets building up and you're in the weeds. Okay. The weeds are literally the tickets that are flying in your face. Okay. It means you've got a backup. Maybe you had a misfire. Maybe you did an undercook. Maybe you did an overcook. Maybe you burned. Maybe you read the ticket wrong. Maybe your line partner read the ticket wrong. Somewhere something got wrong and there's a bottleneck, okay? Maybe the host didn't set the flow right and you just got slammed. Maybe a game got, or a concert got let out and you all just got hit and there's no way to stop it, right? You didn't unforeseen business coming in through the door. But it means that you've got to build up and you're just trying to put out fires everywhere. We're trying to tell you, let's not get there, okay? Put out these little fires so that way we don't have a massive fire in the next few weeks, okay? Let alone at the end of the block where all heck breaks loose, okay? So let's get it together, step it up, and push forward. That's my rant on this. And then you're gonna hear me more about sustainability and all the good stuff about fish. And I just wanna get a little idea from everybody out there right now. Put it in the chat or let's hear, what's your favorite type of fish? I just want to start to get an idea. Who likes shrimp? All right, shrimp, anybody? Like, okay, we've got a salmon. Okay, I love seafood. Just trying to gauge the material. When we go out to restaurants, what type of fish do you generally get if it's not salmon? At a regular old store, if you see sandwich, okay, catfish, flounder, sea bass, mahi-mahi. Okay, we're starting to get some traction here. I love this. What do you think when you just generally go out and it's kind of a nondescript and you just see it just says whitefish or fish. What do you think? What type of fish do you think that is? When you just see fish on the menu.
Cod.
Okay, we got one idea of cod.
Now, back in the 70s, it might have been. More than likely it was.
Yeah. Tilapia. We're going to talk a little bit about tilapia, right? It's going to be an interesting conversation.
I'm just here to say, in the industry and at most restaurants, tilapia is considered a garbage fish. Just letting you know. So if you hear your chef say that, he's letting you know, don't you ever ask him to serve tilapia in his restaurant.
We're going to talk about
bottom
fish,
feeder.
Yeah, bottom feeder. Fish farms, right? Where do we think a lot of that tilapia comes from? Where do we think a lot of the salmon? I hate to break it to you all. Salmon's the next tilapia. We're actually having some major issues in where salmon from up north, where we're running out of those good ones. A lot of salmon is farm raised. I really want you to also think about the difference. If you ever have the chance, when you go to the store and you see a really fatty piece of kind of light orange colored salmon, do you think that that's wild salmon or do you think that's farm raised salmon?
You got your chicken ground on
Farm raised.
Farm raised. Yep. It's farm raised, ladies and gents. It is farm raised. Majority of people, when you go out and you see salmon on a menu, it is farm raised, unless it specifies where it is coming from. Yep. That salmon has been farm raised. We'll show you a photo of it later, the difference. It is incredible. The flavor profile, completely different. The fat content, completely different. It's almost, dare I say, as if they are two different types of fish.
Yep.
All right, Chef, let me throw it back to you.
Tom, what you got?
Is farm raised, are they generally genetically modified? Because I've seen stories where they make salmon bigger just to increase the yield.
Some are.
Yeah.
But farm raised fish are eating just like what our farm raised. Okay, here's a question, class. What do fish generally eat when they're out swimming around? What do they eat?
Plankton.
Plankton. What else?
Seaweed.
Other fish.
Worms. Yep. Other fish, right? As Chef Eric just said. Well, what do we think? And we know cows eat grass generally, right? But we know that cows eat soy and corn when they're farm raised. What do we think that these fish are being fed? Because they're not getting fed plankton. They're getting pellets as well, corn and soy pellets.
So I want
How
to
do
be clear, when you say farm raised, are you talking about nets in the sea or tanks on land?
But both of these things are possible. You have pens in the sea, which are honestly a lot better, depending upon how large the pen is. Remember, if we look at what industrialization of animals and livestock is, a bunch of shrimp, a bunch of chicken cramped into one little house, right? Pecking each other. It's the same thing as a bunch of salmon in a pen trying to move. Salmon are supposed to swim.
Freely swim.
They are just in a tight little pen, getting fattened up. Roger.
I was gonna say I did a study a couple of years back about like the shrimp. It was shrimp, the different crustaceans like that, but the shrimp, how they would do them like overseas, and like how you saying being packed together, and the things that they are eating off of is like almost like the say our sewage. Like so when you go into like Walmart and you see that shrimp that's in a bag that says China or Taiwan, wherever, the way that they feed them is it's better for you to go and you see the guy on the side of the street, the vendor that has freshly caught shrimp. You rather have that because their fish are eating like, say, you would say the pigs, they're eating whatever comes through there. That's all they can eat. It's whatever is coming through that canal, that area. So it's not good. It's not good for your body, and you can tell the difference when you eat it.
Yep.
100%. Sorry, Chef. I go crazy. I'm like,
Yeah.
so I think that this week is fascinating because when you don't know and you start to find out,
Oh yeah.
it is insane.
You know, when I was stationed in Washington, D.C., that was one of the greatest things. We'd get off work 1 o'clock, go down, and we were right there on the waterfront where I was stationed. Fort McNair is right on by the Washington Naval Yard, right on the waterfront. And you'd go to, I mean, trust me, by about noon, the smell was awful, but getting down there, getting fresh fish, you know, these guys just caught it. You know, they were out on their boats. You know, it wasn't, and you can tell the difference. The difference can definitely be told. And like I said, I remember the first time I tried tilapia. I'm like, what the? I'm not going to use that word, but it's like, what is this? Because it didn't even resemble to me a fish taste of what I was used to, when my dad and my uncle used to take us fishing. Nothing like it. And it is sad. Somebody was talking about spawning upstream. Oh yeah, Tom and the Priya. But that's not what you're seeing now. You're seeing these big old tanks, and then you see them, they sprinkle pellets and all other kinds of garbage over these fish, and that's all the fish can eat. And it's sad. It is definitely
Also,
sad.
class, we've got another issue, which I don't know if anybody has ever talked to you about this in other classes, but food fraud, okay? Fraud in food, right? Huge thing with the Italian mafia with olive oil. They were even fooling like professional olive oil tasters. They were, remember, the world of food science is phenomenal, right? You could take a regular old cheap oil and make it taste like expensive, high quality olive oil. They were able to fool olive oil connoisseurs, okay? That was one. Parmesan cheese. Do you buy the Parmesan cheese that comes in that shakeable container? Because let me tell you what that's full. Turn that label around and look and see what those ingredients are, right? Cellulose, you'll see, right? You've got other ingredients that's keeping that separate. That is not that is not 100% Parmesan cheese, okay? It is, yeah, the best, as Chef Eric is saying, is grated from a brick, a wedge of cheese, obviously. Now we look at cost points.
Crap in the craft bag either. Exactly.
You look at what's going on in there, and that is not real cheese, right? They also have this with labeling of fish, okay? So that's where I wanted to get to connect to and start making these connections. different countries have different regulations, remember? And one of the most difficult things is finding out, where did the fish fraud happen? Was it the person who caught the fish and sold it that then slapped another label on it, right? If you're getting a fillet of fish, unless you are really, really good, right? And I'm talking about somebody who has been trained in, you know, fish anatomy and everything, it's going to be hard for you to detect if that fish is fake or not until you take a DNA sample. Okay. If you see a piece of white fish, oh yeah, that could pass for this or that or this. There's a lot of fish that's getting passed off as other fish in sushi restaurants. Okay. In restaurants in general. Guess what? You can make a heck of a lot more money selling one type of fish versus another fish. What we're going to pull up right now, I know I'm just hopping a little bit ahead, Chef Eric, but I think this is the perfect time to put this in, which is certain fish are on the seafood watch list, okay? This is something we're going to talk about, sustainability. So if one's on the seafood watch and I know that I shouldn't be eating this because it has high levels of mercury, or we basically outfished them, like Chef Eric was saying, and they're on the do not eat list, well, of course, I'm not going to sell that, right? Or I'm not going to market that I'm selling that.
Yeah, they are.
But do we think that could happen? What do we think? I don't know. Let me pull this up, Chef, if you want to start talking about that, and I'll get this.
As we know, everything is about money. Bottom line, everything is about money. If you go to, you know, if you're into fashion, you have knockoffs, what people call knockoffs. You have a little bit of everything going on. Fake items being sold happens with food, clothes, cars, jewelry. Oh my goodness. When I first started working part-time in jewelry and I found out what the markup was, anyone who doesn't know, you would be amazed. If you've got a nice little diamond ring on and your diamond cost you $2,000, no, it didn't. Your diamond ring, literally, if you bought it wholesale, it's about $200. But the person who bought it, who spent that money, they must really love you because they spent a lot of money on something that's really not as expensive as it looks. And that's, like I say, it's just what we're doing with everything. Prada, all those. I was in, where were we at? We were in Italy, went to the Prada store, like, oh man, a lock in that place, $50 for a little tiny lock that if you go to Walmart, you know, same kind of lock and probably a better lock at Walmart, is going to run you about $3. We left the store. I'm like, I just wanted to go in there because it's a name. We left the store, went across the bridge. There was a couple of guys set up with a truck, you know, one of those boxes that fell off a truck. They were selling the product for like $20 for a purse. It's craziness. You've got that, Chef Catherine?
I do. It's not exactly how it used to be. I'm still looking for the other one. They used to where we could put in a state. Now it's like, looks like we're searching by species of fish, but this is pretty cool. Class, on the class page, when you get into your the wild seafood, seafoodwatch.org. This is Monterey Bay Aquarium, which does a huge, you know, has just been always an advocate for sustainability in the sea world. All right. This is a way to search how sustainable things are. So we could let's go into the avoid, because I think this will be a little bit interesting. First, let's go into the avoid list. Okay. First of all, there's a ton of results, but look at these avoid lists, right? And oftentimes it's going to tell us why, right? Maybe it's because it's overfished or because of the actual style of fishing that's happening. Okay. We've got a lot of amberjack. This is alphabetical. Now we've got European anchovy. but there might be another type of anchovy that's totally okay. All right. Before anchovies were on the yes, go list. Okay. Let's see what else we can see here. I'm gonna see, maybe we should pick, should we pick what does anybody want to see? Does anyone want to see the best choices? Does somebody want to see what in the country or region? Let's do this. Let's do US, right? Let's do, okay, well, that's not apparently gonna work. Let's do this. Most of us are US based.
There
Let's
you
see
go.
what we've got coming in. All right. This is super fun to play around with. I'm just saying, okay? If you have interest in this, again, this is going to be alphabetical. So we've got things called good alternatives, all right, as well. Beware of concerns, also known as, remember, there's different names that these fish are going to be going under as well. All right, let's keep going down. Arctic char. Got a good one.
Good stuff.
Farming method, raceways, right? We've got bass. Now, interesting. Let's check this out. This is where we want to show something that's really important. And this is why I want to show this to you. When you look deeper on this website, you're going to start to understand why. Okay. So we've got striped bass and striped bass. What the heck? This doesn't make any sense. How is one is a good alternative and one is an alternative? Well, we've got the also known as those are the same, but where's the biggest difference? What's the difference do we see here? The fishing gear. Okay, hand lines and hand operated pole and lines. This means somebody, an actual fisherman or woman is out there doing it. The fishing gear, a set gill net. Do you guys remember back in the day when the tuna cans were like dolphin free, dolphin friendly tuna? It's because when you go in and you just throw down a net, you're trying to get every single thing that you can when they're catching tuna. They were catching a lot of dolphins, okay? Dolphins just getting killed left and right.
Yep. Getting
Okay,
caught in
that's
the
why it was
nets.
dolphin friendly, okay?
That's the thing. They were getting caught in the nets. And
Exactly,
then they were just killing them.
yes.
Instead of releasing them back, they were just killing them. Oh, well, we don't want them on the boat. Or they were, it's
Adds weight, drags it down, gas, fuel. These are called bycatch, okay? Bycatch can be great or it can be terrible for your, company. So that's a big difference. Okay, so say you're working in a restaurant. Okay, yeah, I've got some striped bass. Awesome. How is that being fished? These are the questions. If you're working at a sustainable restaurant, these are the questions you would be asking because these are the things that you care about. Otherwise, we know that this way we're destroying things. Okay. Stationary uncovered pound nets. So all of those, there's ways to avoid. But now we've got another one, a best choice, ponds. Okay, cool. Who knew? Right? Now we've got another one, tanks.
hybrid striped. Woo.
Exactly. Let's see, what other type of fish? Oh, carp. Who knows about carp?
Shoot, what?
Right? Carp salad.
You better ask somebody. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Catfish, big time.
Oh.
Let's get some.
Man.
Okay. Again, you're going to see differences with, we've got bluefish, blue catfish, all these different things, clams.
And this is what
Okay.
you're looking for. You're looking for the certified or the best choice.
Exactly. Boat dredges, dredging meaning they're going down on the bottom of this to pull up, or hand implements, meaning we're going and searching for these, okay? The quahogs, which are famous for just deliciousness, but it's all about research.
Yeah.
Okay, also known as cubby or surgeonfish, lemonfish, right? They're going to go by different names as well.
Yep.
Set long lines versus drift gill nets versus hand lines. Okay, again, why these avoids are going to be ones that are catching a lot of that bycatch and just killing or not releasing. This is really interesting. I know it seems like a lot of information, but it's really important to think about. We've got Atlantic cod that's going to be good and Atlantic cod that's bad. Hand lines, hand operated versus bottom trawls. Bottom trawls dig up everything, destroy ecosystems.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna stop this. Have some fun on this website, please. Check it out. Look up your favorite, you know, I mean, like, I'm gonna do one more. I told you, I get so crazy on this, sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Let's just look at this. Like, I don't know, I love shrimp. I'm a sucker for shrimp.
You know
Oh.
what? I remember when people tell me I don't like shrimp. I'm like, what? Okay, you know what? Just give them to me. Order steak and shrimp, give them to me. I will have no problem disposing of them.
Right? And you're gonna have different shrimp that are good, bad, indifferent, avoid, good alternatives, right? Brown shrimp, again, a skimmer trawl is okay. Where are we getting these difference here? Let's see. So the biggest difference here, we've got one, right? Same brown, EB or shrimp, skimmer trawl. The difference is Gulf of Mexico versus West Central Atlantic Ocean.
Yep.
So where it's coming from.
Because
It
it's
gets
probably
in-
fished out.
Exactly, chef.
Probably low. They're not letting nature take its course to build it back up. You've got these big boats going in, taking it. How many people watch Forrest Gump? Do we even need to go there? When you watch Forrest Gump, remember Forrest couldn't find no shrimp. Him and Lieutenant Dan, they went out and they was going and they went through the storm and all those boats got wrecked while they were out at sea. Now all those boats were gone. All the bigger boats that were coming in, they were all gone. What happened? Forrest cornered the market. Him and Lieutenant Dan. I love that movie. I'm telling you. Tom, what do you got for
a
me?
good one of that.
I'm telling you, I love that movie. Tom Hanks is a genius, period. But the movie itself is a feel-good movie. Tom, what do you got?
It is a great movie.
It is.
You brought up some things, and I don't eat seafood, to be honest. It's just not something I do, but I appreciate it.
So
But
I'm taking you to a seafood restaurant when we go hang out. Okay.
it won't happen.
Well, see, that's the great thing about good restaurants. They always have something different. So if they have surf and turf, we'll get you some
Well, yeah,
turf. And I'll just take your surf. That's all.
I just don't eat seafood. But you talked about certification and verification of where things coming from. So you're looking at like USDA certified and the Prime label, as well as companies like Allen Brothers, who claim to have the 1 or 2% best beef in the country.
Right.
Is there a system of like that for seafood?
There's a system like that in every food ecosystem. The problem is how many people are following it.
So if I'm shopping and I'm in Atlanta, we use inland seafood.
Okay.
Do I trust my rep?
That's a good question. Do you trust your rep?
You have to have that hard conversation with them.
Well,
You have to ask him, where's the source from? And if he starts doing too much of the that is AWW. If he starts doing that, I wouldn't trust it.
but I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, and I also live in Pensacola, Florida. So those are two like
You're
seafood.
just fishing. I'm like, yeah.
Oh,
How do you
You don't
not
like seafood, Tom?
I fish it. I just don't eat it that often.
In Charleston? Like
Oh my God. I grew up there.
fish sandwiches must have just been falling from the sky.
My parents hated me. Grilled cheese.
I don't think they hate you, but yeah.
But I do fish, and I can clean a fish. But and Pensacola has a lot of cobia, which I saw on the
Oh yeah.
because we have a cobia weekend down there. But I've never thought about it because I don't know if there's a certification that you could look at on the bag, because we have a sketchy group of people here at the Curb Market, which I really don't know where their seafood comes from.
It seems these days everybody is sketchy, and that's really what's sad about it. I mean, it is. Honestly, I mean, sometimes
Well, I've seen
it's like I go into a grocery store to get some salad, bag salad. Okay, okay, yeah. Most times I'll just grab my lettuce and I'll cut it up myself because I look at the bags and I'm like, why do y'all keep sticking them in the freezer? And the guy will look at me with a straight in my eyes with a straight face and say, we don't put them in the freezer. I'm like, yes, you do. That's why they have frost burn on it. And they look at you and you're like, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention I'm a chef. Come on, dude. I've seen it. And I know, I get it. Okay, let's leave it in here for a little while, or we have it in the refrigerator truck and it's just a little too close to the freezer. That's why it turns brown that quick. That's why you have water in it. And hint for anybody who buys lettuce in a bag. Okay, some people do, LaPria, believe it or not. If you're buying lettuce in a bag, look at the bag, the front. The front is going to look pretty. Turn it around. If the back has any kind of moisture in it, they've had it in the refrigerator or too cold in the refrigerator, or they had it in the freezer. Do not buy it. It's going to be bad by the time you get it home. So just a little hint there. Sorry, didn't mean to yell. I get really perturbed when I go to a grocery store and they try to BS me. It's like, dude, come on, stop. It's like that piece of salmon you got there. It's got a little brown slimy stripe, and you've been trying to slice it off, but you didn't do good enough because I know that fish is going to go bad by tomorrow. But they'll try to, once they find out you're a chef, then all of a sudden they want to show you their good stuff, which really pisses me off because they should be giving the good stuff to everybody. They should be showing you the best.
So do the rules apply to fish as in other proteins where you feel it, you smell it?
100%. Does anybody know what you look for in fresh fish? What do we know? Does anybody call out some of these identifiers when we're looking? First, obviously, Chef Eric is giving you a good giveaway. No fishy smell I see in this chat. What else?
When you're dealing with whole fish.
The eyes. What are we looking for in the eyes? What do we want to see in those eyes? Bright eyes.
Clear.
Do we want to see sunshine or do we want to see cloudy eyes?
No cloudiness, right? Look and color. No fishy smell. The gills. What should the gills look like?
Joseph, you're a genius. Eyes not milky. If your eyes are milky, just leave that piece of fish alone.
Texture, right? Should it be mushy? No way. Should be pink, red, brown, or gray. For you're talking about the gills. You want to have those should be really bright red, right? That's really what you're going to be looking for. You want that to be fresh. Okay.
So is a factor because fish smell.
Well, freshly caught fish do not smell. They smell like the ocean, but they don't smell like fish. They don't have that fishy smell. It smells like the ocean.
Once it gets to the fishy smell, it gotta go.
Yeah, I've seen that. Like
different
in the sun. So what fish should we be using for our assignment?
Well, this is a perfect time. Should we hop into these recipes real quick, Chef?
Let's go to the recipes.
Let's do it. And then we'll hit you up, Tom. We'll answer this while we are in it.
Honestly, I'm the wrong person to ask what fish you should use because I will have you out with a, $400. No, I'm joking. No.
Let's start off with the fish en popilote. And just so you know, this is the same technique. And before anybody asks, no, you are not combining the fish and the seafood. These are two separate requirements. Oftentimes, will you see it combined? Yes, that's not what we're doing here. All right. Two separate pouches, one of veg, one of fish. Once you become an expert at this, start to learn how to combine technique, right? Flavor profiles and understanding how long certain vegetables are going to need to cook along with that certain type of seafood or fish. Okay. So, yeah, Chef.
No, I said exactly.
Oh, okay. I saw you. I was like, oh, shoot.
Yep.
So we've got 4 ounces of any fish or shellfish. Okay. Next up, 2 teaspoons of melted butter, salt and pepper to taste, chopped parsley, dried marjoram. Okay. If you do not have dried marjoram, omit it. Put in some thyme. Put in another herb. Okay. Any herb that you think would be nice. Okay. Maybe you've got some tarragon. Tarragon could be really pretty. You most likely have some thyme in the, or oregano, marjoram and oregano, fairly close, okay? A little pinch of that in there, right? Anything though, do not get hung up on the marjoram. Also, do not go and waste $5 on a little teeny jar of McCormick's, marjoram. It's a waste.
Yes, thank
Hearing
you.
it from me right now, unless you already have that in your pantry, or,
If you've already got them, Melissa, that's fine.
or you want to know what it tastes like, then go for it. Otherwise, pick another one. All right. We're here to save you guys money and work effectively and efficiently. All right. Very finely chopped shallot or onion. Okay. If you can't find shallot, because shallot's quite expensive, sometimes not in the best condition because it's so expensive, it doesn't sell as much in some places. So it's soft. So
Yep.
why waste your money on that product? Again, right? Buyer beware, buyer be hyper aware of the product you're buying. Don't waste your money on a product that's not good. Substitute
Okay.
for another onion. Red onion, white onion, yellow onion, onion. Okay.
What?
What's up, chef?
$3.98 in Laredo, Texas for a shallot. Oh,
Yeah,
heck
in a
no.
bag of like 3 or 4. That makes sense. Totally.
you
It's
better use-
ridiculous.
You better
So
use regular
don't do it.
onion.
Do not do it. That's what what Chef Eric and I are here for, to guide you all in the right direction.
They said single for a single piece. You know what though? I believe it.
Insanity. Do not even waste
Nope.
a flicker of your eye at that. Okay, just keep
No.
walking. Get a substitute. Shallot is delightful. It is divine. It's sweet. It's mellow. It's gorgeous. I absolutely love them. However, not
for
worth it.
$3.98.
Okay. You only need 1 teaspoon of it anyhow per package. Okay. So thin slices of lemon. Thin. That does not mean thick. Thin. What are we talking about? Always food cost. If you put a chunk of, a piece of lemon that's, I'm like trying to get a good something. Where's my pen? That's
If
It's
it looks like
thick.
if it looks like a toy truck tire,
if you're getting,
it's-
or you're getting 4 slices out of your lemon, that is, no way.
exactly.
No way. 8 slices out of that lemon. Okay, nice and thin. Work on those knife cuts. Okay, thin slices. You're gonna over acidify it if you throw in big old chunks, and you're just throwing money out the window. All right, thin slices. Next, I'm just gonna hop into the vegetable. Don't get distracted. This is literally the same list of ingredients, except we're gonna talk about vegetables next, but I just wanna let you know. And it's the exact same method. Exact same method, okay? Who remembers when you were kids, maybe you were lucky enough to do this, I know I was, Valentine's Day is coming around, you gotta make some cards for your mom, your crush, whatever, and you take a piece of paper. Actually,
Cardboard paper.
Chef,
Or
you want
what they
to,
call
here,
it
I'm
back
gonna
then.
get, Chef, I'm
They
gonna
call
go
it
get a
const-
piece to just give an example real quick. You want to just keep
Yeah.
talking about this?
Used to do those little construction paper hearts. Come on, everybody knows how to make them. Whether, I don't know, if you had a creative teacher, they had the little template. And they had you take the piece of construction paper, fold it in half, and then you did the little half heart.
Really easy.
Norman said, I did it as a kid. Norman,
Yeah.
you made a couple of them last year. Don't even try it. You did.
Everybody
No,
does it, right?
Right.
You're gonna take that piece of,
you cut them out, and that's the shape you have. It is the perfect shape for impapillote. Now,
fold it in half.
you're
People
not
complain that this is
using-
too hard. It's not.
yes, because you're not using construction paper. You're using
Parchment, not wax paper, not wax paper, parchment.
wax paper. The wax will come off on your food. Parchment paper is amazing. And once you see it steam, once you see that pouch raise and you cut it open, you're going to be like, whoa. It's just like the first time I ever saw a meatloaf cooked in plastic wrap. Well, cling film, which was, it's a little different. Freaked me out. 325 degrees. My chef bet me and like 2 dishwashers that he would cook a meatloaf in plastic. And I'm like, oh man, come on, it's gonna melt. It's gonna, and the cling film he cooked it. And it not only was it delicious, and I'm still sitting there looking at it like, how in the heck did this not pop open? But it can be done. Just like in Papillote.
You want to make sure that you're taking your fish fillet or your shellfish and thinking about how large it is so that it fits in your pouch. Okay. So I want to put a fillet and I'm like, man, I'm getting all excited. I'm getting all fast here, guys.
Best guideline I always give is 2 inches below. So at the bottom of the heart, and try to get 1.5 inches at the top. Is
You
the
want some
space you want.
space.
Yes.
All right.
Exactly.
You want space around this so that you can crimp. This is a little too large, but that's the whole point. You're going to crimp this around. You're going to see this in the demo, but you need to make sure that you've got extra space around the edges so that when you fold it up, you
You're
can
doing your
actually
crimping.
seal it.
Yep.
Right.
And
Crimp it
Tom,
up.
you were 100% right. Bacon is awesome with
And you
parchment.
get that nice and locked, okay? So cut that heart out, okay? Again, make it the size of the fillet that you're gonna be using with a little, with extra space so that you can wrap around, okay? Like Chef Eric said, about 2 inches extra so you could get that room to crimp. No staples, no rubber bands, no tape, okay? You want it to seal. We are cooking by steam. So in order to seal that steam in, you need to make sure that the crimp closes nice and tight. All right. Oil that side of the parchment, throw your shellfish or your fish right down on that. Okay. You can use foil as it states. It makes it a lot easier. If you don't have parchment and you're trying to save a few bucks, go for it. This is like the old school camping trip. All right. Place that fillet or fish on one side of the heart, brush with the melted butter, sprinkle with salt and pepper, right? I personally would say go ahead and season that fillet before, so that way you're getting both sides, right? Not just the top. Season your shrimp, season your fillet of fish, okay? Then generally, sprinkle on that, that parsley, that marjoram, lay the shallot, lay those slices right on top, make it look beautiful because you're gonna open this package and it's gonna hit you with all that aroma and you want to make it look nice, right? Presentation is always so key with everything. And boom, you're pretty much there at that point, okay? Close that up nice and tightly. Place that foil package in a saute pan, or if you're gonna go directly into the oven, there are 2 methods here, okay? If you're doing 8 fish and papillote at once, you're gonna put those all on a sheet tray and go into that preheated oven. If you're doing 1 or 2, this is how you get the temp up way quicker. You start cooking that process at the start, okay? In the saute pan, you get that heat going immediately from the bottom up, okay? Steam starts to build, okay? Once you get, sorry, I lost that, okay. Set on the range, yeah, okay. Once you get a little puff, I was double checking. I didn't want to say something that was not in the recipe. And boom, place in that sheet tray in a hot oven, and you're going until that parchment puffs up and is browned. Okay, about 5 to 8 minutes. Again, if you're using a super thin fillet versus a bale thick piece, that's where you have a change in temp and time. Excuse me. All right. If it doesn't brown, you can throw that under the broiler, get a little bit of color, and then you serve it. All right. You cut open and you open that in front of the guest. You get hit with the aroma, the steam, the aromatic, and dive in. Okay. A few things to note with this when you are doing your presentation for when you're showing us your photos here in week 5, we need to actually see that fish and those vegetables. So make sure that you actually fully open the package. Otherwise, it's really hard for Chef Eric and I to see what the heck is going on. Package open showing final product. Okay, that's for your vegetable. We need to actually see it, not just like it barely opened and we can barely see these vegetables. All right, or that fish for both.
And one of the biggest questions we get is, can we put them both together? Here's the deal. 1 packet for vegetable, 1 packet for your fish. Reason being, They cook at different temperatures. It's the same thing if you want to do shrimp and fish. You have to remember things cook at or finish cooking at different temperatures or different times. So let's say you get a fish, you butter, or you get shrimp, you butterfly it, and you've got a thick piece of salmon. They're not going to cook at the same rate. So if you're going to do shrimp and fish, you're going to have 3 packages. You can do 9 packages. It wouldn't make a difference. But yes, keep them separate because they're all going to cook at different times.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or
Or you might have a situation where you have like Tom, you might have a customer that's allergic to fish. You don't want to put them in together. You want to give them that separate. And if you're presenting this, if you think about it creatively, if you do 2 half parchments and put them together, what do you got? A cute little Valentine.
And it is Valentine's Day. You guys this is like the perfect week to knock it out. Or isn't it almost Valentine's Day?
Almost Valentine's Day.
Oh, it's like 2 weeks away. I'm up a week.
But you're practicing. You're practicing for Valentine's Day. Slice them both open. You've got this beautiful heart. You've got the fish, and you've got your vegetables. And they're looking at this beautiful parchment heart melting. Oh, what did you just cooked for?
And can I ask, you leave the parchment for the guests, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. That's the presentation.
That wasn't clear here.
The whole point is that you serve immediately. The parchment should be cut open in front of the customer. Remember, again, this is when we steam, all of that flavor stays, all of the steam and flavor is staying inside of that little that parchment parcel. You're going to get, the guest gets hit with the aromatics, and that's part of the experience.
And you're going to have scissors for the guests. You cut that for the guest. I've done this before.
You're going to use a steak knife. I mean,
yeah,
your sharpest knife.
Or
I've actually seen where they do razor blade, which I think's a little.
That works too. But no, that's part of the presentation. You got everything in the bag, parchment in front of the guest. You just open it and leave, correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You would cut it open in front of them and let them enjoy.
No need for you to stick around, really.
True.
Cut it open. The steam hits them, the smell hits. Oh, that is delicious. Thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. Thank you. Tell the chef I'm in.
Bon appetit.
And the waiter's on his way out.
It is magical.
It is.
Indeed. So let's just cover really quickly, and then we'll see if there's any questions regarding the end papillote technique. So any vegetable or mixed vegetable, just like Chef Eric was saying, a carrot is going to cook at a lot different temperature than a broccoli florette. Okay. If you want to do carrots, if you want to do hearty vegetables, julienne them, bâtonnet them. First of all, cut them. All right. Think about what would go well steamed. Okay. What are we trying to look for when we steam a vegetable? If we're going for broccoli or asparagus, we want it to stay bright, vibrant green. We don't want them to be army green. Okay. Carrots, we want some al dente to them, like a little bit of bite, but they shouldn't be crunchy. Okay. Another great one, squash or zucchini. But again, think about how you're cutting them, how you're cooking them, at what temperature, how long does each of those take to cook? Again, do not put in whole baby carrots. Again, if you're doing baby carrots, we need to see some bias cut. We need to see some knife work on those, okay? But a carrot's gonna take a lot longer to cook than a zucchini, than a squash. Density of vegetable, guys and gals. You have to start thinking about how quick or how long do different types of products take to cook, whether it's fish versus shrimp that have been butterflied, that butterflied pork chop from week 3 versus a double thick, right? Cooking times matter. Bone in versus bone out.
Exactly.
Cooking times matter. Does anybody have questions regarding this? Yeah.
Well, Melissa, you only have the round paper. You can still cut a heart out of that. Okay.
Fold it in half. You're halfway there.
There you go.
Flip off that bottom.
That's the key.
Mikael.
Good day. How you doing, Chef Catherine?
All righty. Yourself?
You on the road again, man?
That's my first home.
Yeah, he's always on the road.
He is always on the road.
Real quick question. I'm sorry to ask you this, but
Yeah.
kind of in limbo as far as the technique. Can you just explain that real quick? Because I do have parchment paper, but I was kind of in limbo as far as the technique that we're using with the parchment paper. Can that be explained as far as how we're using the technique with the parchment paper and steaming the vegetables and the fish?
I have, matter of fact, hold on a minute, chef. Here is a photo of what it should look like. Okay.
After it's opened.
Heart shape could have been a little better, but this is literally perfect. As you can see, the lemon thin, threw a little bit of time in there. We see the fish. That's the key. Like Chef said, we can't grade what we don't see. I can't say, oh, well, you did real good on your sanitation if I don't see a sanitation bucket, if I don't see the sanitation. So I can't say, oh, your carrots were wonderful if there's no carrots on the plate. So this is what we need to see. And as you can see it's nice and toasty around, or nice and brown around the edges. But that fish, literally, I can smell this fish through the photo. So that is what you're looking for.
Another quick question. How did they seal it together? What did they use to seal it together there?
You're actually crimping.
Okay, got you.
If you can access, well, I'm sure you can access the video, the demo video.
Yes.
They'll show you how to, and there's no one set way to crimp. But in the demo video is probably the best, because that's what you want to do. You want to trap that steam. That's why you did not hear me or Chef Catherine say, oh, use clarified butter. We didn't say that. You know why we didn't say that? Because you actually want some of the water, some of the liquid from that butter, because that's going to help it steam. There was a question earlier about what type of fish. Can we use frozen fish? Yes. Don't use it frozen though. Thaw the fish out. Don't worry about, you can drain some of the liquid off. If it has a little bit of moisture, that's fine. That's what you want. You want that steam to build up. You want it steaming, because all it's the parchment paper is its own convection oven. Is the best way I can put it, because that steam is just rolling through and it's cooking it. And I'm telling you, when you try, and like I said, I've given up on trying to convert people because I keep getting these little side messages like, chef, I converted, but I'll never admit it. And I'm gonna be honest with you. If you converted and won't admit it, I don't like you. I'm just joking. I'm getting a lot of convertees, but they don't want to admit it because they know I'm right. This will be one of your favorite ways, honestly, to cook fish.
Super quick, super easy,
Honest.
super tasty. Your sauce is in the pouch itself. And the cleanup is minimal. Hello?
The butter and lemon mixes, oh my goodness.
Herbs.
When they open that pouch, or once you open the pouch for them, all they have to do is boop, and they can surf. They can take the fish through all the liquid, which is what? The juice. All the liquid in there, and just eat. Everything's right there.
Okay. All right, thank you both.
Not a problem. Norman, what you got?
So on the vegetables, would it be preferred to get a bag of frozen instead of just
No.
getting separate?
Nope.
Oh,
No.
I am so glad you asked that.
No.
Oh,
Ooh, I'm so glad you asked that. Here's the thing. You are in a what? Culinary class.
yes.
Show me some culinary. Somebody did, well, actually several people. On what week was that? The basting week. Rainbow carrots.
So
Beautiful
week 3.
rainbow carrots. Now, if you can get the small ones, if you have a Trader Joe's near you, I'm sorry, I'm not pushing products, I'm not pushing stores, but I love Trader Joe's because they have these little mini rainbow carrots. For me, I'm cutting them bad boys in half. Little small rainbow carrots about that big. I'm cutting them in half. I'm leaving the top stem on, and that's what I'm using for my vegetable.
So you can use just one if you want.
Honestly, with these, you're going to use, they're the miniature ones. They're not the big ones. They do have the big ones in the bag, but they have a bag of little mini ones. You're going to go probably, I mean, if you want a proper serving, you're going to go either 3 or 5.
Okay.
Remember, a couple of weeks ago, I said, when you're doing meats, you're doing sliced meats, you're doing miniature vegetables, you're trying to get your numbers at 3, 5, or 7. Industry standard. 7 is a little on the high end. So you're normally looking to go 3 to 5. So I would get me this purple ones in there. There's a yellow, and then there's the regular, regular orange. So I'd get one of each, cut them in half. Right there, you're good. That, if you cut them in half, it's going to give you 6 halves. I do realize that. So take one and taste it. So you're good.
Okay. Thank you.
No
You
problem.
basically want to avoid frozen vegetables unless you have to use them.
Yeah.
Especially in this case, they're going to get waterlogged. Okay. Frozen vegetables just contain all that moisture inside of it. And then you steam it like this, and it's just like sad town.
I tell you what's a good vegetable. And like I say, I'm not pushing that you do the exact vegetable. If you can find squash in your area, perfect. If you can find it. Try to stick with, because I know people like to mix their vegetables. We did have a couple of people try to do potatoes and onions. Your potatoes are going to be raw and your onions are going to be mush. So try to do, asparagus is good. Yes. Oh my God. What was I thinking about? Asparagus is actually perfect.
It's great.
got-
It's expensive and out of season depending upon where you live, but it's perfect.
Yep. Green asparagus or white asparagus, either one. Oof, it's good.
Tom, is that hand up from before or a new
No,
question?
It's still up.
Okay, cool.
2 questions. Would you mix carrots and turnips?
Yeah, you can. Turnips are going to cook a little bit quicker, but just cut those down and you'll be fine.
Okay. And then when we're presenting the pictures, do you want to see the fish flaked up if it's flaky? 'Cause-
Sure, go. Would love to.
You know what? In that case, do 2 pictures. Show me the beauty of what you just did. So show, just like the photo I showed, give me the lemon, the seasonings on top, and then yes, to show the doneness, you can go in, yes, definitely go in and flake it.
So that'd be a picture.
Mhm.
That's how I do them.
Brian asked, let's see, Bren, bell pepper. If you're gonna do bell pepper, just
Be quick.
are you talking pepper and onions? Bren, pepper and onions?
Yes.
I think that'll work. They'll
Okay.
cook about the same. They will cook about the same time. So yes, and that's actually a good, actually a good topping to put on your fish.
Yeah.
So that goes perfect with it. Yeah. If you're going to do that though, you might want to vary up different types of peppers. So change it up. You gotta, if you're not using salmon, you can go with red, orange, yellow peppers. If you're going with salmon, yeah, of course you want to go with green because you've already got a little bit of the red. So you don't want to, you don't want the same color. So
Okay. Thank you very much.
no problem.
All right. I'm going to hop into pomme boulangère, the baker's potatoes. These are delicious, by the way. If you're looking for a lower fat alternative to, if you're a au gratin or pomme dauphinoise fan, like I am, I could eat potatoes every day of my life and probably be okay.
If you're cooking for a bunch of people, like your family, this meal, this is going to be the one they're going to just look at you like, wow, okay. This is a good one to put together, really is.
And it's super easy. It's actually quite low cost. You can jazz it up the next time you make it. But it's super easy to, you know, change up the flavor profile here. So this is basically the potatoes that would be made with the remaining heat in the bakery back in the day in that oven. Lyonnaise cut, which you will learn about in the, I believe there's a demo on this. If you don't know, that is root to tip as opposed to half moon, okay? It's from the Lyon region of France. Again, that's root to tip, okay? Not half moon. Okay. 8 ounces. Preheat that oven. You need butter, or if you've got some duck fat or bacon fat, highly suggest that. A little chicken schmaltz, cool. Any of those, delicious. Even olive oil, okay? All of like good, you know, nice tasty olive oil. Me personally, duck fat, bacon fat, chicken schmaltz, or butter.
You had me at duck fat.
Okay, you know, right? So what we're going for. Starchy potatoes, again, starchy, right? We had this issue with a few people. What was that, Chef?
LaPria said you had her too.
Yeah. Remember, class, we had this issue with a few people with the French fries using waxy potatoes instead of starchy. You can do that, but guess what? Your cook time and the consistency, everything's just going to be a little bit different. All right, so we're telling you now, the recipe calls for starchy. Look for those starchy potatoes. Peeled, again, peeled. Some people did not follow that rule when we had the French fries. If a recipe says to peel it, we told you what to do with that waste. Fry those bad boys up and eat them as a little crunchy snack. Don't let them go to waste. It's full of vitamin K.
Some people did, Chef. I had some that presented their French fries and then the fried potatoes.
Perfect.
That was the hardest one to grade ever.
I love it. I'm salivating already, okay? But peel and we don't want to see those brown spots. Again, attention to detail. If you go into a kitchen, if you go to a restaurant and you see something where you've got brown spots that aren't taken out of your potatoes, I know that you're just like not paying attention. You're really not caring that much about your quality and consistency. It's okay if potatoes have those, but take them out for your guest.
Yes.
Also had a lot of people still not peeling their carrots in week 3 for basting. We specifically said this, peel your carrots. Me, I'll eat the skin on in my own house, but not at a restaurant.
Exactly.
It's just
the only time you would leave the peel on if you're making something, and this is like a home style restaurant and you're making beef stew.
Yes.
Because you want it to look home style, but
rustic.
For anything else,
peel.
Quick peel. Quick peel. And then put the peels in the stock pot. That's why you're peeling. You're peeling because you're actually adding to another dish that needs to be made, which is the stock.
Exactly. And slice those up. All right, 1/4 inch. Again, no mandolin here. So I've heard it before. No mandolin. We are in culinary school. We want to see your knife skills. And this is 1 pound. This is nothing. 1 pound of potatoes.
Oh man.
When it gets to 50 pounds, bust the mandolin out. 25 pounds, bust that mandolin out. 1 pound, don't you dare bust the mandolin out. Don't be lazy.
I remember walking into the restaurant, seeing 3 boxes of 50-pound potatoes sitting there, and you're just like, dear God, please not my station.
Yeah, and you know it's you.
You know it's you.
You know it's you. But
the chef likes the way you cut them.
Yeah, right. 1/4 inch thick. Okay. Take those that onion, lyonnaise cut, saute that in butter. Sorry for the dog barking in the back. Butter or duck fat till they're translucent. Just maybe a slight bit of browning, but you don't even need that. They're going to get nice and they're going to get to continue to cook in the oven. Okay. Just translucent. Add those potatoes, toss until everything is coated with fat, seasoned with salt and pepper. Okay. Place in a baking pan or a large roasting pan. Pour in that stock. You do not want the stock. You do not want your potatoes submerged in stock. Okay, you want this in you want large surface area. You don't want to put this in a loaf pan. Okay, you want that liquid just coming up enough just to, basically be right on top of that. So it's gonna start to evaporate and cook the potatoes.
Yep.
It's gonna stay in the oven for about 60 to 90 minutes until those potatoes are done. If it's drying out, add a little bit more stock, okay? But you should get some nice, beautiful caramelization and golden brown coloring on top of those potatoes, a little crunchy on, a little bit of color development and fully cooked. All right. Again, do not have these potatoes submerged in stock. All right, that's key. We want to get some color. We want to get some development, and we want that stock to evaporate, and it goes into the potato itself. All right, any questions, Chef? I think something's coming up in this chat.
Can we make a compound butter for this? For the potatoes, I'm sure that's.
You're gonna make compound butter later in class. Personally, I would say no, unless you're doing like a roasted garlic compound butter, because by the time those herbs have been in the oven for that long, you're gonna lose all the color. If you want to finish your production of your potatoes and then garnish it with some fresh herbs after, heck yeah, gorgeous. A little sprinkle of finely minced thyme or rosemary or even parsley or some chives. But
now I can tell you what you can do the compound butter for, though. The fish, once the fish is done, once it's done and you ready to cut it, and you drop that little piece of compound butter on top and just watch it go. Now you already have butter in there. You already have the lemon juice, but that could be a little extra. And Chef's right, we're gonna be making butter here in a couple of weeks. Trust me.
And you're gonna make compound butter. But I like where you're going, where you're thinking.
Butter week was one of the, that was a rough one. I graded like 6 butters from one assignment. Like, I don't know, we had students lose it. And they were like, oh, well, I was in the middle making one and then I decided, and yeah, wow. That was an interesting week. It was a good week. Some people had a lot of butter.
I did just see one question in the chat about, or you're supposed to layer the potatoes and onions, kind of like how you do when you think about au gratin or dauphinoise. You're really just going to be, you're sauteing those onions, you're tossing in your thinly sliced potatoes, coating everything with fat, pouring that out. Some students have been really, they've got some extra time and they're really, lay out their each individual slice and have this beautiful design, which is gorgeous and could be gorgeous in small individual servings. I mean, talk about stunning. Right? However, not needed. If you have the right size tray, you're going to have just about, maybe a few will be laying on top of each other, but you don't need to go into any type of great obsession of layering potatoes and onions. Pour that out onto that sheet tray, that roasting pan, add your stock, and you're going to be good to go.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a problem with Zamara. Mm-hmm. 8 compound butters. All right, I see you. Overachiever. No, honestly, I can't even remember. All I remember is I was looking. I don't think anybody made just 1 compound butter. I think pretty much every student made at least 3. And then, yeah, just because we had,
Week 11, guys and gals, week 11. We got time.
The one with the peppers was the one that got me. The what are those little
habanero?
Yeah. Habanero butter. I was like, okay. I was like, if you want me to try that, you gotta feed me. You gotta feed me something with that. I don't want to just grade that. I want a meal, and then I want that right there. Norman, what you got?
Sorry about that. My phone was showing an Amber Alert. When I go and get my fish, where exactly do I go? Because I made fish a couple times, but I was never one to go and get it. Is it like, do I go to the deli place and ask them I want so-and-so fish?
Most grocery stores are set up the same. When you walk in, you've got your deli.
Yeah.
Right next to that's normally your bakery. Then you swing around, you might have like the bread section. And then right there, you'll start seeing where you're starting to get your poultry, your meat, your other stuff. But right before that is going to be the fish section. Depending on what store you go to, like we have a store here in Ohio, Meyer. Anyone who's from Ohio knows Meyer. Meyer has a pretty, depending on which store you go to, they have a pretty decent fish section. And the guy can actually articulate what's good fish sometimes. he
Yeah, I was
hates
gonna
seeing-
say, Chef, depending upon where you are.
Yeah.
Laugh.
he hates seeing me come in.
Oh,
I mean, like he'll be like, oh, hey, chef, and it's like, dude, your face already told the tale. So that's
You might wanna
normally
just go
where
with
you go.
frozen.
Yeah, if you have to, go to frozen. If you're not sure if you can trust your fish guy, go frozen.
Yes,
But I-
fillets
Alrighty.
are okay, Wilisa.
Jeanette, so you know what I'm talking about. Depending on where you are in Ohio, you should know about, yeah, Meyer. And like I said, Meyer's a great store, don't get me wrong, but yeah, they put their lettuce in the freezer. It aggravates me.
Another thing to think about, class, remember, oftentimes most fish is frozen on the ship, right? It's coming off that boat, it's coming to the sea, and they need to
Or
freeze
ice.
it because fish doesn't have a long shelf life, right? It's not like chicken or beef that's can hang out, right? It's a completely different beast, okay? You want to freeze that fish as soon as possible so then it can be flash frozen, brought down to temp, gets its longest shelf life, right? So you have happy
listening.
customers, repeat customers, and then it's getting sent in frozen containers, okay? You're rarely getting, unless you live, like Chef Eric was saying when he was over on the coast, getting that beautiful fresh fish right out off the boat, awesome, okay? But if you're not living in an area like that, or it's not the season, you're just not getting you're not getting fresh without frozen fish, okay? So that arrives at a grocery store, it gets properly defrozen, right? Thawed out, defrosted prawn, wow, I cannot speak right now. And then it's presented in the fish case, okay? So that's usually been frozen already, unless if you look in the small print, it always says previously frozen. Look at
Yes,
it.
Alyssa, you can
It'll
use your
say that.
frozen. And yes, HEB is great. When I lived in Texas, HEB was it. It's
Yeah,
just-
defrost.
HEB is like the greatest grocery store mixed with the greatest, department store. It's what Walmart is aspiring to be. Let's put it that way. Boogie Plus. Oh yeah. Oh, only went there once. Bougie.
Chef, was there anything else that you wanted to drive home regarding sustainability? Sorry, I went crazy. I got really pumped
Oh
up
no,
today.
you know what? The thing about it is we have to get cracking. We have to, and a lot of laws need to be made so that people don't destroy the planet. And the ocean is literally the one place we really don't want to screw up. Not just because of the food, but just because of everything. I mean, 70% of the earth is covered in water. Our bodies need what? I mean, we're made up of water. Mostly water.
70% of water.
Yeah. So we can't screw up that. If anything, screw up the air. Anyone who's if you're from Los Angeles and I offend you right now, it's purposeful because it is. When you look at Los Angeles, the smog, it's ridiculous. It is literally ridiculous because it's such a beautiful landscape. But then you look and you're like, what in the world? Smog. So we're already messing up the ozone. We're messing up, the air that we breathe. We can't mess up the water. We're not really treating the land like it should be treated, but we have to do something. And this is probably the best thing. I mean, sustainability with fish, it is easy. But see, that's the problem. When we first get that first farm and everybody's, wow, this is cool. Oh man, we can still feed people. Farming fish, to me, should be used in countries where people don't have access. They can't get that access to the ocean, where people are starving, in the desert. Those are places where we should be farming. We should be taking our time and doing what's right to make sure that the oceans replenish themselves. Because like I said, that's where the good fish is. So on our next episode of 60 Minutes, no, I'm joking. Norman, what do you got?
So this is probably a long shot, but let's say we're out, within the week, within the 7 days, and we're fishing. We catch like a bass and it's okay in our area. Can we use that? Because I've cut up fish before.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Give me a challenge to
100%.
do.
a little sea bass. Yes. And you better send me one too.
I got
just
you.
saying.
Totally.
So do
Talk
what?
about
What are we
full-on
doing with quick
sustainability.
freezing? Quick freezing. We're getting Chef Eric and Chef Catherine's address. Quick frozen ship. There we go.
Right.
All
Thanks.
right. Too easy. Any other questions? Anyone think they got a better store than HEB?
I got a question about the fish, because they said you wanted to see us, I forgot the word you used when you break the fish down, but do we have to get a,
Fabricating. No, you do not have to fabricate. You can.
No.
There's a demo and a video of fabricating fish. And if you want some practice, heck yeah, go for it. But it is not
No.
required.
Okay,
We want to
great.
see it once you open up the package. We just want to be able to see the fish.
let me ask you this, if you wanted to steam a fish with the SQB with the head on it, that's not proper, right?
Why isn't it? You talking about steaming a whole fish?
Yes, sir. Like a small hand size red snapper.
Ooh, what's wrong with that?
Beautiful.
Okay, very good. I just want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oftentimes head on, eat the eyes. The cheeks have such delicious meat in the fish.
They sure
That's
do.
like the best little section.
Yes, yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want to see show of hands who's had fish head soup.
Yes, I have. I can't do my
There
head.
you go. Yeah,
Yeah. Head
Oh.
all the way.
that's it.
Okay, very good.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay, very good.
And like I say, if you have questions during the week, do not hesitate to send us a message. Hey, Chef. Norman sends me a message. Hey, Chef, I caught a bass. Big old sea bass. How should I cook it? Now, if you got a big piece of parchment, and that would be an awfully big piece of parchment to do a whole bass, a whole sea bass. But yeah, just like I say, make sure you got 2, 1.5, and some room on the side, and cook it up. Cook it up. But yes, no, we're not grading on fabrication. You do not have to fabricate fish. If you go in and you get a nice frozen piece of fish, or you do find a good store that has a good piece of fresh fish. And here's the thing. Anything you buy, you can ask that person across the counter, can I smell that?
Yeah, I do.
Can I see that? And they can pull that piece out. That's why I say I don't like the ones that are already shrink wrapped. I don't buy those. You know what? I like that piece right there. No, yeah, that one. And I want him to show it to me because I'm going to do, and then I'm going to check it. Okay, yeah, I'll take this piece.
Yeah.
And
Like
believe it or
Eric said,
not,
it's your money. You're buying the product, whether it's a T-bone steak or a fillet of fish. So you get to choose what you're buying. Don't let them give you what they want to get rid of first.
exactly.
You have buyer's purchase, buyer's demand, buyer's power.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, even though the guy across the street hates seeing me come, he hates seeing me when I walk in the door. He still respects the fact that he's like, yeah, you check all your stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm not just gonna, and sometimes he gets excited. Hey, chef, I got a good piece of this that just came in. I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't in the mood for fish, but you know what? Since you showed it to me, let me see. And then I'm buying it. So now he knows. He's like, okay, hey, that's chef. So I know chefs look, and it's always weird. And I stopped shopping in this. I really had to stop shopping in this. This is any job I've ever been at. Because when you walk in a grocery store like this, you get, okay, you get admirers and then you get weirdos. Now, the admirers are going to be the ones that are going to follow you around, and they might ask you a quick question about something. I've always wondered, what is this? What would you use this for? But then you're going to get the weirdos, and those are the ones who follow you around the store. And then after a while, you start realizing, and then you start just doing stuff to mess with them. Like you pick up a honeydew and you put your ear to it. You don't need to put your ear to it. You can thump. I had an aunt who could thump a honeydew and tell you exactly how sweet everything, which she was literally looking at the stem and she could tell you that. But yeah, I go to stores and I'll do that and I'll listen. If sometimes I wish I had a stethoscope so I could listen to it, just so the person who's following me would be so confused. Like, why did he use a stethoscope on that? So these are the people that you're going to have follow you around the store. But when you go into certain parts of the store and they know you, 9 times out of, and it shouldn't be this way. It should be just put out a great product for everybody. But sometimes it has its benefits. Like, hey, chef, I know you were using shrimp last week, and we've got some large cut. It came in and they are beautiful. And then, and he's showing them to you. And you're like, wow, okay. And even if you weren't thinking about buying them, it's the fact that he knows what you do. Exactly. They pull the red carpet. Exactly. They're like, wow, okay, chef, blah, 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 blah. And even you might change the dynamics of the store, because if they see you come in there enough, they're going to tell the guy, hey, we can't put that out, because if Chef Catherine comes in and sees that, she's going to call us out on it, especially if you're vocal. And I know Chef Catherine's just like me. We will call you out on some crap in your store. We will. Like literally. Oh, do you decorate cakes? Like, oh, sweetie, that's not, stop. I'm gonna walk away because I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't know how many cake decorators at grocery stores I've looked at and been like, you're charging how much? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna walk away while I can, because if I don't, I'm gonna say something wrong. Samara, I know I keep saying your name wrong every time I say it, and it pains me.
It's okay, chef. So yes, about the red carpet thing, I also experienced that, like,